Emmy quickly arranged a team to accompany them, and Charlie still drove the car he came in. Nanako also got into Charlie's car without hesitation. Afterwards, Charlie drove the car and, under the leadership of the convoy, went to the residence of the Ito family. Although Tokyo is one of the most expensive cities in the world, the Ito family also owns a private manor in a quiet place. The entire manor is designed with Japanese-style ancient buildings, which is very simple, but it reveals low-key luxury everywhere. Charlie found that even the wood used to build the house was extraordinary. It seems that the top big families have no place to spend more money, so when building and decorating, they are completely trying to spill money everywhere. If you can use high-end ones, you definitely don't need ordinary ones. You can use imported ones. Never use local ones. In the final analysis, it is still a sentence, only choose the expensive, not the right one. Because Emmy called in advance, the servants of the entire Ito residence were all neatly dressed, waiting respectfully at the entrance of the residence, in the courtyard and inside the villa. Charlie parked the car and, led by Nanako, walked through the beautiful courtyard and walked all the way to the door of the villa. All the servants along the way bowed 90 degrees, with a very humble attitude. The villa of the Ito family in Tokyo is a huge multi-story wooden building. The whole building looks like a huge ancient temple, and the internal space is surprisingly large. As soon as they arrived at the entrance of the main hall, Nanako suddenly leaned down and knelt on the ground, holding both hands empty, and said to Charlie, "Master, please let me change slippers for you." Charlie was stunned, and hurriedly waved his hand. "No need, no, give me slippers, I'll just do it myself." Nanako insisted, "I should help Master to change it. This is a Japanese tradition, and Master should just go to the countryside and do as the customs." Charlie thought to himself, China has long been equal between men and women. Why in Japan, women still kneel and change shoes for men? But then thinking about it, since it is a custom of others, they may not feel that there is anything wrong with this. If they insist on opposing it, they will break the other party's rules. So he had to lift his feet up and said sincerely, "Then work hard, Miss Nanako." Nanako, who was still wearing a kimono, looked up at Charlie, and smiled ashamed. She was so beautiful. Afterwards, she gently held Charlie's feet with both hands, and gently changed him a pair of slippers, then slowly stood up and said, "Master, please." Charlie nodded slightly and walked in with her. Nanako introduced to him, "This house has a history of more than 100 years. It was severely damaged during the Great Kanto earthquake. Because the repair cost was too high, no one paid attention to it. Later, it was taken by the father. He bought it and spent huge sums of money to repair it, and it looks like this now." Charlie asked curiously, "Mr. Ito seems to have a soft spot for this old house?" "The house in Kyoto looks much older than this one." Nanako smiled softly. "In fact, it's mainly because I like this style of architecture. After I moved from Kyoto to Tokyo at the age of 14, I have not been accustomed to life in Tokyo, so my father bought it here and spent a lot of money to repair it, and it became what it is now." With that, Nanako said with emotion, "But I still like Kyoto more." Charlie nodded and said, "This mansion is quiet in the noisy city, and it has an ancient flavor and charm. It is already very good, but the Kyoto one is indeed better." Nanako said in a sad tone, "My father asked me to take over the family affairs. It seems that I will rarely have the opportunity to go back in the future." After finishing speaking, she looked up at Charlie, and asked a little pleading, "Master, I have a request. I wonder if you can agree to it." Hearing Nanako's words, Charlie immediately opened his mouth and said, "You speak, if I can, I will agree." Nanako hesitated for a moment, looked at him expectantly, and said seriously, "I want to ask Master Wade to leave later." "Later?" Charlie was slightly surprised, and subconsciously asked, "How long is that late?" "To tell you the truth, I actually plan to return to China tonight, and the plane is still waiting in Osaka." Nanako's eyelids were hot, her eyelids drooped slightly, and she whispered, This mainly depends on Master's schedule. If time is tight, a few hours are all right." With that said, Nanako hurriedly added, "Don't get me wrong, Master. The main reason is that both father and Tanaka are seriously injured and hospitalized. Aunt is not only busy with family affairs, but also busy taking care of them. And my mind is a little confused now, don't know where to start for the time being. I want Master to stay with me for a few more hours. Charlie thought for a moment and nodded. Then I will stay until the afternoon, because it will take 4 hours to return to Osaka. Nanako asked, "You have booked a flight from Osaka, Master?" "No." Charlie said truthfully. "My friend helped get a private jet, which is now parked at Osaka Airport." Nanako asked tentatively, "Master, can you let the people you travel with come to Tokyo by plane first, and then you go to Tokyo Airport to meet them and fly back to China? In this case, you can save 4 hours of driving?" After finishing speaking, Nanako hurriedly said, "If it is inconvenient, it doesn't matter, Master needn't feel embarrassed." Charlie thought for a while. His original plan was to drive back to Osaka first, then meet Isaac, Orville, and Liang and fly back to Urus Hill from Osaka. However, the method Nanako said is also a good solution. Let Isaac and the others come directly to Tokyo by plane, so he doesn't have to drive this way.